Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I hope you're doing really, really well. Back, coffee, dressing gown. It's tasting good. Tasting good. Um, so today I just wanted to talk to you about Louie Simmons and his unfortunate passing last week. For those of you who don't know who Louie Simmons is, Louie Simmons is the owner of Westside Barbell and founder of Westside Barbell. And what Louie did was create the conjugate training method and popularize the conjugate training method, and was one of the early adopters of all the Eastern Soviet Union methods, and brought them and made sense of them into the more Western English speaking world. And with that, changed the course of history. Now, I've been very fortunate enough to be in the company of people who met Louie, who've trained at Westside Barbell, who experienced that. And it was something on my list and something I'll never probably get to do now, as he's famously been quoted: when he dies, Westside will die with him and Westside will close. Now, and I've seen some wonderful tributes from guys like Matt Wenning and people like Brian Mann and people that knew him and experienced him face to face. But I can only tell it from my point of view as a young strength and conditioning coach stumbling across Westside Barbell. And the reason why I found it was I used Westside for Skinny Bastards method, which Joe DeFranco used. And I used that right back at the beginning of my training when Joe put that workout on his blog, that whole program. And, from there, training for me was never the same again. And training for a lot of people was never the same again when they heard about Westside Barbell and they heard about the Westside method. And these guys that were the strongest guys in the world, everyone wanted to create their own version of Westside, whether it be in their mind or in where they're training, because everyone loves performance, but everyone's a meathead at heart. And that is huge. And, I got quite emotional and about the passing of Louie, because he was such an influence on my thought process. And when you think about it as well, it's something that we talk about in the legacy quite a lot, and is what generation coaches are we? And I think it's really important to acknowledge this, and this is the main point of this conversation today, because I don't really feel at the moment, unless you're in his immediate vicinity, that or the powerlifting world, I don't think everyone realizes what the industry just lost. And because if you do maximal effort method training, it's because of Louie Simmons. Jim Wendler's 5-3-1 program doesn't exist without Louie Simmons. Dan Baker's Strengthway doesn't exist without Louie Simmons. You think all of these popularized strength training methods, they would not exist without Louie Simmons. And when we think, like from an ancestry point of view, so Louie was the first to translate and popularize Zasiorski's work and former and Soviet Union coaches, because he wanted to know, he understood, and it all started because he broke his back. And he started reading, and there's some wonderful documentaries about all of this sort of stuff. And so in my mind, one of the early, the first adopters of formalized strength and conditioning were the original scientists and research guys in the Far Eastern European nations, Bulgaria, Soviet Union, Russia, those places. And for popular, a name that probably everyone will know the most would be Verkhoshansky, and if you don't know, please do get recognized. who his work is lived on and fulfilled and brought to new levels through his daughter Natalia. So there you have, you know, those first generation roots, deep roots of our industry, and then you have someone like Louie Simmons, who's second generation. And in my mind, that's what I feel is the second generation. Someone like Charles Poliquin as well, probably second generation. And there aren't that many second generation guys. And this is something that you really need to think about is, you know, the industry has just lost a huge part of its identity. Remember, strength and conditioning is such a young profession still. It's to what, 2022. It's not even 100 years old. It's not even 100 years old. And you think about carpentry's been around for centuries. And we're not even 100 years in terms of like formal structure into what we're doing. Yes, of course, people trained and exercised for many years. We go back to Sparta, but what I'm talking about is the formal understanding of what we're doing and the practicing of profession. In rugby union alone, it was only in the 90s that it became a strength and conditioning coach job. And, you know, you have to really pay respect to that because the industry just lost the second generation guy. I would probably consider myself as a fourth generation S&C coach, something like that. Probably, if you were to work the lines, you got Russia in my pathway, in my world. You got the Russian coaches. You have Louie Simmons. Then you have someone like Brian Mann, and then you'd have someone like me learning off Brian Mann. That's kind of how I would say it, from a generational shift where I would sip it. But so when you're thinking about the work that you're doing, when you're thinking about, you know, this experience and this person that we've just lost, so just take a minute and really acknowledge and really understand, because, you know, for me, putting this out here publicly, it would be a huge thank you to Louie for everything that he has done. Thank you to the movement that he created, the inspiration and the people he inspired along his way. And like I said, I don't know him. I've never met him personally. I know people that have, but I know the impact that he had on me. And if I can ever get to that level of displaying that inspiration to someone as he did to me as a young and maturing strength and conditioning coach, then I would safely say I've fulfilled what I have done. So excuse me getting a bit emotional again, but that's how powerful and how much this profession means to me, and legacy within this is why I called my mentoring group Legacy. So yeah, enjoy your day today. If you listen to this on the podcast, let me know what you think. Screenshot it, 5-star it, whatever you want to do. If you don't, it's fine. If you're on YouTube, drop me a comment, send me a DM. Let me know what you think about all this sort of stuff, and tell me what you want, and I will sit here and I will talk over my morning coffee, everything about you. And if you want to join me for a morning coffee at about 7:30 in the morning, if you're up for it, then I'll send you the link and we can chew the fat for 20 minutes together. So have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, but remember, there's always perspective to be found in everything, and there's something that you're always to be grateful for. So much love, Sportland Nation, and I am out.